Hello, Days of Our Lives fans. This is for the week of October the 30th to November 3rd, which is today, Friday. What's popping in Salem? All kinds of stuff, man. All kinds of stuff. Good things, bad things, and sad things. That's what's happening. We got a couple of weddings this week. Love is in the air. So is revenge. Anyway, let's get to it. So Monday, we take off Monday, and if you watched my shorts that I try to do one every day, sometimes it's every other day, on what has happened that day, because, I watch it, I screenshot some of the scenes, and I put them in the video, and it's very informative. But if you want it all together, and you just like me, you can watch these long ones. So anyway, I put in a short probably last week that someone was stalking, watching Chad and Stephanie. And people were like, it's Abigail. Abigail's coming back. And I started to believe, could it be Abigail? I was devastated by Abigail's murder. Not necessarily, well, yes. Her murder is we went through all this weeks. And I'm just going to tell you, I don't care what the writers wrote. Clyde did not kill Abigail. Gwen did. You're not going to convince me of any different. So, save your ink, dude. We know Gwen did it. There's just no way she didn't. Now, because of all the horrible things that they had Gwen do, blackmailing her own father, just horrible things she has done, makes it even more difficult when they switch her over to Teresa and she puts on some hideous wig. That is not the actress's fault, of course, that they stick her in a wig, because some actresses just dye their hair. But, I don't blame her for not wanting to dye her hair or whatever, but, that wig's hideous, and then her accent kept slipping through. Still, even now, when I make my rounds, people aren't liking her as Teresa. Now, I will say this, I thought she pretty much sucked the first few scenes that I saw her in, but the most recent ones, she was able to keep Gwen's accent out of it, which made it a little bit better, but she just seems so disgusting. And a lot of that has to do with, I know she's Gwen, I hate Gwen's guts. Not the actress, mind you, I hate the character. The actress, of course, is doing a great job, or I wouldn't hate her character. So, anyway, why did I get off rambling on that? I don't know. So it's Friday, November the 3rd, and let's talk about what's going on this week, because so much is going on and I don't want to make an extra long video because I'm rambling. But I've been taking Benadryl because I thought I was getting a cold, but it's just the allergies. I cannot explain to you how bad it has been, but that's what happens here in the Ohio Valley. So I'm not in Ohio, that's just what they call it. Anyway, so we see when we start off Monday, who pops into the picture? Everett, a.k.a. Nick Fallon, a.k.a. Blake Ferris, I think is his last name. Now, I'm not real big on what the actors' real names are. I know some of them, but some of them I don't, because, I don't care. I care about their characters and stuff, and wish them all the best. But I'm not all interested in their personal life, unless I just happen to see something. Anyway, he used to play Nick, and, he was evil. He was wicked. He was a wicked little boy. But now he will go over well as playing Everett. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's been quite a while since he's been on the show. Now, he did that short stint when he was running hell for the devil. When Kayla, Kate, and Marlena was in hell. I speak for most Days of Our Lives fans when I tell you that the devil is done to death. We are sick of him. So, wreaking havoc on our friends all the time. Anyway, he's going to do great in his role, and I'm already impressed with him. He's doing a great job. So he comes back, and he's apparently Stephanie's long-lost boyfriend. The one that ghosted her, said, "C'est la vie, sister. See you around, clown." Well, that was him. He just what did he go out for something or something and just never came back, never called her again, nothing. And it was devastating to her. And she just recently was explaining this to Chad because her and Chad are having a little difficulty. If you didn't see last week, old Patcharoo, which this is about the worst thing he's ever done, besides sleep with Ava Vitale and produce Trip. I'm not a fan of Trip. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought because I'm rambling. I should not have taken all that Benadryl. Okay. So Patch, they come in Halloween, and if you've seen Halloween, not the stupid stuff they did Tuesday, but the week before, Stephanie put on an outfit that apparently Abigail had wore her last Halloween on Earth. So she's like, oh my God, I'll take it off, because she bends over backwards to try to not hurt Chad in any way. But, Chad is just, she can't catch a break. And I'm starting to think maybe she needs to split with Chad. And I love Chad, don't get me wrong. He is one of my favorite characters. I just love him to death. But, he probably needs to see Marlena. Well, not really. I mean, what? Abigail hadn't even been dead 2 years yet. So, actually, he moved a little bit fast. Now, I can say this because my soulmate died. And that was in 2002. And I'm still not ready. Oh, no, I don't expect Chad to be, that extreme. No, that's not true. Actually, it was several years. It was several years until I dated someone else. But, if it truly is your soulmate, like I believe that Abigail was for Chad, that is something that that love never goes away. And that is what Nicole ended up telling Chad later this week. Maybe it was today. It was yesterday. But anyway, so for some reason, Kayla and Patch are wanting Stephanie and Chad to get married. Well, they did move in together, and he's got the kids, and really they probably shouldn't have done that because of the kids if they weren't looking toward marriage. And I think that's what Stephanie was thinking, and it is what Stephanie was thinking. So, but she, when he talked to her about marriage recently, he said he's just not ready yet. And she said, oh, that's fine. I'm not ready yet. No rush. But Patch goes up to Chad at the little Halloween soiree for the kids. And, he tells Chad, look, man, and you're already thinking, walk away, Patch. Walk away before you ruin little Sweetness's life. So, I love that he calls her Sweetness and Stephanie Little Sweetness. Kayla and her. It's just the most precious name. Whoever came up with that. Anyway, I've got to quit getting sidetracked. I'm a sidewinder today. So he tells Chad, look, man, I know Stephanie told you she wasn't ready for marriage, but you lied. She's ready for marriage. He just really, he caused them to get in a disagreement. And then when Stephanie ends up leaving because they get in a fight, and Stephanie, he's excluding her and things. Like when it was Abigail's birthday, he took the kids to the cemetery, and she told him she felt excluded from that, but he's like, well, that was, and I you know what? I see both sides of it because I've been on both sides of it. So I can tell you, and Stephanie does not resent the deceased Abigail in any way. She loved her. She was her cousin. And she's been so patient with Chad. But what she doesn't realize is Chad has not had enough time. And like I said, I can speak from experience. 18 months? Get out of town. She wasn't your soulmate if you're getting married in 18 months. Now, I shouldn't say that. That's just how it went with me and other people that I know that truly lost their soulmates did not move on so easily. Now, how old was I? I was in my 30s when he passed away. My dad died when I was 34. He died. I might have been closer to 40 when he died. My kids were 10 and 13. That much I am sure of. But anyway, it's not that easy to move on. Okay, so Stephanie ends up going back home, and you see somebody looking in the windows and watching her, and then they watch her when she goes home. Now, earlier that day, there had been a knock at the door, and Chad opened the door, and there was nobody was there. Okay, so Stephanie's home, and she's talking on the phone to Patch and her dad, and he's like telling her he's sorry he butted in, I guess, and she's like, "It's okay, Papa." You know, she is just the sweetest. I cannot imagine her being a character at all that was just nasty in any way. You know, she's a doll. She's just a sweet. They have a sweet character for her, and it's a sweet young woman that plays her. So anyway, she gets a knock at the door. How long have I been rambling about this? 11 minutes. I'll be damned. So anyway, she opens the door, and who is it? Well, he's playing the character as Everett. You may know him as Nick. And in real life, it's Blake Ferris, or was it Barris? I don't know. I don't really know most of I know some of them's real names. Basically because I'm not much on, I don't give a crap what's happening outside of Salem. I don't follow them and stuff like that. If I happen to watch something that they're all in, that's great, but I like them in Salem. So I don't want to know much about their personal lives because I have to be convinced that they are who I think they are, even though I know they're just doing a job, if that makes any sense. So I try not to be involved, like, oh yeah, let's look at their house. How many kids do they got? If I just happen to see something that goes to a scream, it's great. I love to see them all happy and doing well and wish the best for them. Okay, so it's Everett. He's going to go over well as playing Nick because it's been a while, since he was, did I already say that? Since he was Nick Fallon. So he is apparently Stephanie's boyfriend. And so he comes up and he's giving her this story, do you know what you done to me? And he's giving her this story that he went to, I think, to the post office or to mail something for her. And he said when he crossed the street, he got hit by a car. And he had been in a coma for years. And she's like, really explaining it like that? You've been in a coma all this time? And he said, well, not all this time. I had to have some time to rehabilitate. And I believe him. But he also, get this, is the ex-husband of Jada. So some people are saying, in the groups and stuff, and I don't know, but some people are saying that they think he wasn't really in a coma. He had just went off and married Jada. And he's just giving Stephanie this cock and bull stuff, What does that mean? Anyway, I like him. I like his character. Seems very caring for Stephanie. He talks to her for 3 minutes, and he said, "I know you were someone else, but I just wanted you to know." And he did make it clear that he came back to see if they could, work it out. Now later in the week, I will tell you, Stephanie runs into him again, and is shocked because she thought he had left Salem, but he has not left Salem. He got a job at the Spectator. Xander Cook hired him at the Spectator. So he's going to be staying in Salem. They got a little bit friendly, and they were talking, and Chad walked up. I don't know where that's going to go. Now, that's not everything that happened on Monday, but that's his story. Okay, so Chad and Stephanie had a little disagreement. And now Li Shin shows up Monday to visit Marlena. and to see her as a patient. And she's on the phone beforehand, and she's like, I don't know. I got called about a patient who's in crisis. They've got an emergency situation. And Li Shin comes in, and I want to tell you, this is the best of this character, Li Shin, in what I've seen this week of him. I've never liked him, the character, but I felt myself being very compassionate and just really liking what I see, and that is him disheveled and basically suicidal. I don't mean that at all. I'm very anti-suicide because of what has happened to me and my own family. But so he comes and talks to Marlena, and he's telling her, he can't sleep, anything. He did have this obsession with Gabi, and that he did work with Megan to try to kill Stephan and whatever they were trying to do to him, refry him or something. That was the funniest thing when Brady and them was putting blenders and tongs and stuff and hooking him up and stuff. That was so funny. Anyway, he's very just beside himself. And we find out some things about Shin, that he had a previous girlfriend, besides Gabi, only one, that he was very much in love with too. And his father did something to end that because she wasn't good enough for him. So he seemed like he was doing better by the time that he left, Marlena's office. But he was very unshaven. He told Marlena he could not stand the man he had become. He was having trouble living with himself. So a lot of demons coming back to haunt Li Shin. All right, now we end up, and I don't know if this was Monday or Tuesday, but EJ flips out when he finds out that Stephan and Gabi have now, they just had gotten Kristen's shares. Now, they did end up getting Li Shin's shares by the end of the week. I'm not sure. That's why I wonder if I got this on the wrong day. And he throws a glass and busts it because he's so angry. And Nicole is like, she doesn't really want to bring a baby into this atmosphere, so he needs to calm down, get a grip, buckaroni, All right. I didn't do anything on Tuesday because it was a Halloween show that was just, I thought it was stupid because I'm just not interested in all of that. Generally, they have a Halloween show with all the kids, but they did just age most of them up, except probably Gabby's daughter, and Chad's kids are still little right now. But the next time we see Gabby's daughter, if everything goes in sync, she should be aged up too. So, they did a bunch of, they were just having Halloween fun, but I kept hanging on watching it, hoping they would get to some substance, and they didn't, and I was just really ticked off that I watched it. And I noticed I scammed the groups, and many, many people thought it was stupid. It was just stupid, and I know they were just having some fun or whatever, but it was just all stupid and a waste of time. Diehard fans such as myself probably didn't want to watch it, and I would not watch it again. Anyway, we move on to Wednesday. So Stephan and Gabi, they are busy hatching their little blackmail plan of Li Shin. And to do this, who do they involve in their little scheme? One of my favorite characters, Rolf. I see. I'm always committed to the mass. I love him. It's so odd that my very top favorite characters are all the little oddballs, but they bring so much to the show. My very favorite character is Susan Banks. And right up there after her would be another character that she does, which is her squirmy little rat-faced brother, Thomas. Oh my God. She is an amazing actress. I like Leo because he's just selfish and off the wall. And I like Dr. Rolf. He always manages to get out of a mess. Anyway, Stephan wants him to help him. And I'm wondering what he's wanting him to do. But he's going to go visit Li Shin. And he's going to wear a wire and talk to Li Shin about his part in working with Megan to, basically get rid of Stephan so he can have Gabi. He has a real bad obsession problem with Gabi. So Stephan's talking to him, getting that all up and going. Let me see. What did I write down? Any notes? Okay, so Nicole and EJ just come into the room, the living room, the great room, the room where they drink and Noni's picture hangs. Stefano. I love the Meras. I swear, I love all of them. Megan, I love them all. Tony and Anna are up there with my top ones. I need to stop rambling. Okay, so Nicole and EJ, they come in and they announce they're getting married. And they're getting married today. So EJ wants Johnny to be his best man. And she's like, and they're all happy and everything. And she said, well, and Johnny's congratulating them. And she looks at Holly and she's like, well, Holly, are you happy for us? And she's like, no. So EJ and Johnny go on upstairs to do something, get ready, so Nicole can talk to her daughter Holly. And of course, if you've been watching the show, you know that Holly has got the hots for her brother Johnny. I mean, I don't blame her. He's a handsome young man, definitely you could classify him as hot. But I'm not sure what their age difference is, but I think it's a pretty good amount there. She's got the hots for Johnny. I don't mean hots like, she wants to be his girlfriend. That's what I should have said. So anyway, she's making up some story and telling Nicole that, well, I'm just still kind of stuck on Eric. I miss him. I looked at him as my dad for a while. And, Nicole told her, she understood that. But in time, she would feel like, EJ was her dad. And she's like, well, you like EJ, don't you? And she's like, oh, yeah, I like EJ. So, she had to make up something to tell her mom. But she's like, it's okay. It's okay. She's over it. And the girls go on to get ready. Now, Holly wants to wear this pretty little black dress, which is more for an older woman. But Nicole told her no, to put on some taffeta purple dress or something. But she went and put the black dress on. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. She looked great in it. I mean, it was a little bit low cut, but, it wasn't like Ben's wife dress. She wasn't hanging out of it. So, she looked great. Defying her mother like all teenagers do. So, Tate showed up for work at the pub, and he's talking to Eric, I think Uncle Eric. And he finds in him that he met a girl. He's really likes her, but she's into a older man. And he finds out that girl is Holly, and he's like, Holly? And he's like, yeah, I know, because you know her because you were married to Nicole. And he said, but she's got a thing for an older guy. And when he said that, Johnny walked into the pub. And Tate went on and did whatever, because Johnny was there to order some sliders and some pig in the blankets for their wedding reception. And he said, Dad just wants her to, it's not generally what you would have at a wedding, but Dad wants her to have whatever she wants for this day. And you never know what a pregnant woman is going to crave. So Tate confides in Eric that he's got a thing for Holly. And EJ ends up asking Chad to officiate their wedding. So Chad goes online and gets certified or whatever, and to perform their wedding. Nicole goes to get her wedding dress altered, and she runs into Eric in the square, and they have some kind of regretful talks about, what they possibly, how things could have turned out should they have stayed together, or if she would have been carrying his baby instead of Eric's. It was a little bit sad, but anyway, while she's gone, Holly ends up telling Johnny, Johnny said, I overheard you say that Tate say that you're interested in an older man. Is he interested in you, and how much older? And, so she ended up telling Johnny that she had a crush on his dad, EJ. And Johnny's like, what? Oh, and talk about an age difference. Anyway, she tells him, I'm over it. It's fine. Please don't tell anyone. I'd be so embarrassed. And he's like, I'm not going to tell anybody. She's telling some lies to cover up the fact that she's in love with Johnny. In love with him, mind you. EJ and Chad are having some heartfelt moments. They're hugging. They're bonding. I love to see this. I love it when the Meras, are bonding, because they are family, and this is what Stefano would have wanted. I'm really disappointed, and so are a lot of other fans, that they are turning Stephan and Gabi into such little baby bitches. They're just so power hungry and arrogant, and they're very unlikable at this time. And Gabi is absolutely one of my favorite characters. I love Stephan too. But, I was wanting them all to just be one big happy family. But it does make letting go of Gabi, because she's going off the show. It does make that a little easier if you make her going out as just a money-hungry person. I don't like that they've done that to their storylines. It's kind of, I can't. It's not a good thing for them. So, Rolf, as I said, is working with Stephan and Gabi. So, Rolf, and this is Thursday, he goes on over to Li Shin's apartment, knocks on the door. Li's like, what are you doing here? I love when he's all straight-faced. What do you want? Because just prior to that, Li Shin was coming back from his session with Marlena, and Gabi called him and told him she was held hostage and she needed help, and then she got cut off. Well, it was all a setup. Anyway, when she calls him, he just seen that it was her, and he picked up the phone. What do you want? Why are you calling me? So he's home. Rolf comes in and is talking to him about, I don't know how he brought up the conversation, but they talked about his involvement with Megan to kill Stephan, and apparently Rolf was wearing a wire. So then Stephan and Gabi come in the door, and Li Shin is like, Gabi, I was so worried about you. And her and Stephan walk in, and she's just standing there because they've made her very arrogant. And he's like, are you okay? And Gabi says this, you dumbass, I tricked you. And he's like, what? So then she plays this little recording of what he just said. And he's like, what? He was all confused. And Ralph shows him that he was wearing a wire, and he said, why are you doing this? And she's like, we want you, we're going to turn this, I'm going to give this to my brother, Rafe, the cop, and you're going to go to prison unless you sign us over your Mera shares. You know, they're blackmailing everybody. So this is going to end bad for them because everybody's hating them. So he does it, and they all leave. Li Shin is beside himself. We see him holding a knife, just looking at it. And you think this is how Gabi's going to go out. And I've seen something somewhere go through one of my streams that Stephan is also leaving. So maybe he's going to kill them both. You know, you just don't know what's happening there. So I want to say something prior to this. EJ was talking to Chad because this was the funniest line of the week. And he told Chad that Johnny had gone to the pub to get some sliders, and he said, Nicole wants something called pig in the blanket. You know, like he never heard of it. It was just funny. I had to throw that in. Okay, so Gabi and Stephan, everybody's enjoying the reception. They go back, and they're just gloating and all happy-go-lucky. And they walk in, and Gabi takes somebody's juice out of their hand. You know, it would normally be champagne or something, but it was juice because Nicole's pregnant, or cider or something. I don't know what it was. It wasn't alcohol. She just takes it right out of her hand. And they tell EJ, well, we've come to fire you. And he's like, you can't fire me. And they proceeded to tell him that they had Li Shin's vote, and they'd called a board meeting for later in the day. And he was out. They were taking over Mera. He was out. He's out as CEO. He's out of Mera. They're throwing him out, firing him. You know, and that ticks me off because I always wanted to see EJ and Chad run the company together. And there for a while I thought, yeah, throw Stephan in there. You know, you all work together. Stephan had to get hooked up with Gabi, who wants what she can get. So, I hate that they've done that to our character. Anyway, we move on to Friday. That's today. And it is a gripping day. So, Gabi and Stephan are still celebrating up in their room. EJ comes in. He's so mad. They have a big argument. And he said something to the effect of, you all enjoy it while you can. Because when I come after you, it will be the end or something. Man, I should have wrote down what he said. Eric decides he wants to marry Sloane today. Of course, we're all on the same day that Nicole and EJ just got married. He goes to Marlena to ask her to officiate. And he just told her earlier that same day or the day before how he still loved Nicole. But he said, I'm not doing it because of that, Mom. I love Sloane, and we're trying to adopt a baby. And I just want to go on and, you know, get married. So she says she will officiate for him. So they call together Roman, and they get ready for a wedding. Everett runs into Stephanie in the square, and that's when she tells him it's Friday today, that he's got a job at the Spectator and he's staying in Salem. And they got cozy and were hugging, and Chad walked up on him. Oh, that did not look good. Okay, so, let's see. She did tell him that she had never told Chad yet that he was in town. So, Eric and Marlena and, what's his name? Roman are all there for the wedding. And they hear a knock at the door. And, of course, that is Sloane. She looks beautiful. Oh, my God. She just wore this pink little dress. She's just a gorgeous young woman, and she looks stunning. Eric looked stunning. I mean, they looked great. And they hear another knock at the door, and it's Brady coming in, And he didn't know there was a wedding going on, but, Eric's like, you're just in time. I need a best man. He's like, well, okay. Okay. And Eric even looked good, and he didn't even have a tie on. So everybody looked all nice and stuff for a wedding, except Marlene and Roman. They were just every day. And Marlena, she was just really, you have to just compliment her as an actress. Of course, she's been doing this for so many years, but she's just rambling off this with this ring ivy wed, just like she knows that by heart. Anyway, Wendy is super worried about Lee. And she goes and he has dinner with Tripp. She calls to leave Lee a message. And she tells him, you're better than Gabi. You're going to find better than her, because he already told her what they did to him. And then the camera shows Lee, who's laying face down on the floor, what looks like blood on his back. And then you hear this knocking at the door, which is Stephan. He busts in, and there sits Gabi, looking all stupid, holding a knife in her hand that has blood dripping on it. And that's how we ended Friday. That's a wrap for Days of Our Lives. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all in Salem. Make sure you catch the shorts, because I do them about every day, and they're so much detailed, and I do them in 60 seconds or less.